Hi there guys, welcome to Rock Hard Riffs. This is the guitar channel for the self-taught. In today's video we're talking about self-taught. What does that mean? What the heck is all that about? And why I happen to think it's to your advantage in a certain way to be self-taught. Rock on with Rock Hard Riffs. Right out the gate, I'll give you about 6 reasons. I don't know about John Paul Jones, but I know Jimmy Page was self-taught. I don't know about Jack Bruce, but I know Eric Clapton was self-taught. Jimi Hendrix was absolutely self-taught. So were John, Paul, and George. That's 6 right there. And so many, many, many more. That's right, guys. Welcome to Rock Hard Riffs. This is the guitar channel for the self-taught. What is all this self-taught stuff? Why would self-taught be either better or worse than being actually trained? Well, for one thing, I have a bit of an advantage because I have been trained and I am also self-taught, if you want to put it that way. I took a few years of classical guitar, but then completely taught myself rock guitar. Now, I never really worked with anybody at all as far as technique, what to do. I just heard what I heard and tried to emulate it, and I came up with kind of sometimes my own technique or way of going about it and making certain sounds, right? So why is that? How can that be to your advantage? Now, I do suggest taking some type of lessons, and that's where this type of channel comes in. Now, also, I have maybe another advantage in another way, and that is that this is not the only art form I've ever studied or taught. As a matter of fact, I owned a rather large art school, so I have like an intimate knowledge of both sides of how they go, especially, studying a few different types of arts. You start to see the same things, they repeat again and again, kind of. How it's approached in the beginning, of course, you're taught your foundation, which is absolutely necessary, right? And then the more involved you get, you're going to start getting into kind of fluff, I would call it, or like what Bruce Lee would have called in martial arts, the classical mess. In other words, a lot of stuff that really is not in the student's best interest. It's more in the school's best interest to milk you, to keep you coming, right? So they say, man, don't forget, don't play with anybody yet until our next video or our next lesson. Then you can really go, right? It's the same thing. They just keep milking you and sometimes showing you stuff that just really is not absolutely necessary. Ask any self-taught player. Now, again, though, at the same time, a foundation and stuff, learning and stuff from other people, yeah, that's important. But discovering things for yourself, in my opinion, ingrains it far deeper into your brain. It becomes part of you rather than something just taught to you. It becomes your own. You kind of own it. Another part, again, this is my opinion, in the studies of art, a lot of it also is to gratify your ego, telling you that, well, hey, you know this and how many other people don't, right? So you're thinking, well then, I must really be something special here. Whereas, again, that's another technique, it's a sales technique. Well, next week, we're going to go over all the different modes, and you have to know those modes. If you're out to get a degree in music and teach it in college or high schools and things, that's great, then you need to learn. But to play the guitar, like play in a rock band, or even a semi-sophisticated rock band, you really don't need any of that. You don't need to know it. You're doing it already. And that's another big thing I've noticed in other art things too. We're already doing a lot of stuff just without putting a name to it, that they're going to give you this fancy name like Mixolydian and Dorian and things like that, when you're actually, in certain ways, if you just listen and play by ear or write by ear too, as well as I put it, you're already doing it. You're just not putting a fancy name to it, right? Wink, wink. How much did that cost you? Is what I would ask. So again, guys, I tend to think that going the self-taught route, I think it's just better for you in the long run. It really is. But that does not mean to not learn some stuff, right? Like this channel, we teach different songs and things like that. We also teach you some technique, but I really try to shy away from theory and things like that. Because number one, you really don't need it. If you're trying to be a rock guitar player, you don't need it. Not that it's bad. It's cool and all that. If you wanted to get a degree in music and teach it and things like that, then you'll need it. Otherwise, you don't need it. Ask any of these guys here if you don't believe me. Also, a lot of it is ego gratification, believe it or not. That's how the thing works. That's just how it works. All right, guys, please leave a comment. Let us know your opinion. We really appreciate that. And don't forget, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. All right, guys, we'll see you next video.